Right.
All right, welcome everyone to Success in the Black Multimedia, soon to be Success in the Black TV. And I'm so very fortunate that my very first guest I would consider her a good friend of mine, even though we've never met in person, but we've been friends on Facebook for a good while, got to know each other. I got to know a lot about her business um, and her family and what she's doing. But I want to share that with everyone now because I believe in promoting business. That's what Success in the Black is about. But more importantly, I believe in promoting what I call the 3 Ps, the person, the product, and then the plan. And what's the plan? That's what we're going to find out today from Miss Ebeth Johnson, better known as Ebeth
Yes.
Johnson. All right, so we're going to chop it up. So, Ebeth, how are you?
I'm so good, and I'm so glad to be here. It's true, it's amazing. Facebook actually really did its job with you and I, because we have managed to become friends and learn about each other's family, and all through social media. So it's pretty awesome. I'm really honored to be here and be your first guest and have the chance to connect with your community. So it's going to be awesome.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the things, and I'm gonna reference back a couple of times, especially in this first show, to what I did with the radio show back in 2006, just to kind of give viewers perspective on why I'm doing this again. My idea is that today we'll get a chance to know about who you are. So tell us, we can talk about as much as you want, but at the same time, why you're doing what you're doing, because at the core of Success in the Black, the premise is that this is inspirational. I believe I can say this for the both of us. We know we can't motivate people. Motivation comes from inside,
yeah.
But we can certainly inspire people. And I've been inspired over all of my years, both inside and outside corporate America and entrepreneurship and all that kind of good stuff. So first off, talk to me about who Ebeth Johnson is. Yes, who are you?
Such a big question.
Right.
But so, as you said, my name is Ebeth, and I am a mindful eating coach and a nutritionist and a chef. And I created a lifestyle brand called Delicious Living for a few reasons. One, because I wanted people to really understand that my focus is on deliciousness. A lot of time when you think about nutrition and wellness, the ideas that pop into one's head is like, oh, that food's going to be boring or bland or tasteless, or it's going to be too restrictive, or it's not going to be fun. And so the first thing I want people to know is like, I'm not about that. I'm all about living your most delicious life in all the ways that delicious can mean, whether that's tasting great, feeling great, looking great, achieving your goals, and everything that's going on in your life just being super tasty, super delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I came to this, people I think look at me now and assume that I was always thin, I was always happy and great. And really, I used to be a really overweight young adult, and I had to learn how to eat differently, how to move my body, how to just think differently about myself as a person. I had to learn that I was worth the effort and energy of changing the way that I eat, the way that I move, the way that I think, the way that I talk to myself. The things we say to ourselves are often so damaging. And I had to go through that journey of changing all of that. And it happened after I went to the doctor, I'll never forget. And he says to me, if you keep gaining weight at the rate that you've been gaining, you're going to be obese, you're going to die early, you're probably going to have diabetes, hypertension. And I was like, what? I don't want to die. What are you talking about? And the saddest part about it is he says this to me and then just sends me on my way. Like, I should know what to do to change that.
Wow.
Of course, I didn't really. And my family didn't really either. So it started my journey on initially a path of not making the most healthy choices. I mean, I did crazy stuff like, one of the most crazy things I did was I took laxatives, which a lot of people used to do back in the day to try to lose weight, which is crazy and bad. Don't do it. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I don't want anyone else to go through that, to get the news or realize that they want to change their life, or have someone tell them that they're on the path towards a less fulfilling, less healthful life, and not know what I want them to have a place to go where they can get information, learn how to cook, get inspiration, be motivated and supported. And so that's why I do the work that I do.
Hmm. And so how long have you been not just owning Delicious Living, but how long have you been on your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, that's been a long time. Let's see, I think I started my first business in 2002. I think 2002, after I graduated culinary school. Before that, I worked in restaurants. I did a lot of restaurant management, and then I did, I did waiting tables and all that. But I realized pretty quickly that I wasn't really made for working for other people. I really I wanted to be more creative. I wanted to be more free. I wanted to do things my way. So I was like, I think I want to just do my own thing, start my own business. And also at the time, I realized that there was, I wanted to do something specific that I didn't see a place where I could work to do that. And at that time, I was working with teenagers in inner city in New York around issues of food justice and culinary education and empowerment. And there wasn't like a job you could get to do that, So I, myself and the person I worked with, we created that. And we traveled all over New York, all the boroughs, literally on the metro, schlepping like burners and knives and cutting boards and food on the metros and around at places and creating a kitchen and teaching people how to cook and how to eat well.
I'm really curious on this one point, and I don't want to interrupt you because you're flowing and it's beautiful.
No,
but
go ahead.
This is something that back when I did the radio show, we really tried to hone in on just that feeling that you had right then, because a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people who want to be entrepreneurs have the idea, they have the inspiration, and they want to go after it. But here's the big but. They don't, because the courage to step out there isn't present. So what made you courageous enough? What was it that made you courageous enough to say, I don't need a regular paycheck. I'm going to go out here and do this. I mean, if you can share,
that's a good question.
There's something like that, because that's the burning question when people want to start their own businesses. How do I walk away from a regular paycheck?
Yes. And courage is definitely part of it. I think for me, I was courageous to a point, but I think the desire to do what I had in my mind was just stronger than my fear. Because I can't say that I wasn't afraid. I was afraid people around me were like, girl, how are you going to pay your rent? What are you going to do? And I was like, I'm not sure, but I got to do this, So I don't know where the courage came from, like I say, it was more, at the time it was almost more of an experiment. I kind of said, you know what, I'm just going to try this. I'm going to see what I can make of this. And like I say, my desire to fulfill that need, that what I felt was my real purpose at that time. I felt like I have all this information, I have this experience, I want to share it, and the desire to do that just pushed me forward. It just kind of kept me moving in that direction. And I had to do a lot of kind of inner work, and I still have to do that even now after decades of being an entrepreneur. There's always moments of fear, and there's always moments of having to make the choice, like I'm afraid to do this, I'm not sure what's going to happen, I don't know if people are going to want this, I don't know, but I believe in this, I think this is important, and so I just got to do it, got to do it. And then also getting good mentors, finding other people who are either doing something similar or who can believe in your dream as much as you and hold space for that, are really, really important. I think that served me more than anyone, because when family and friends maybe weren't as supportive as I wanted to be, it was those outside mentors who really kept me feeling positive, gave me advice, connected me with people. So yeah, I think it's really important to do that, because they help bolster that courage and that confidence, and they give you the community that you need to succeed.
Absolutely. So let's jump to, since you since we talked about delicious living a little bit, let's jump to what delicious living is and maybe the why behind it. Because I got a couple of questions, and I really want you to kind of flesh out, what that is before we run out of time here. What's delicious living? Who's it targeted to? And we can even sprinkle in there, what's the plan for delicious living going forward?
So delicious living is, I guess you could say it's a lifestyle brand, but beyond that, I think it's a way of living one's life. So the intention behind the work that I do there is getting people away from diets and deprivation and body drama and shaming when we're thinking about food and wellness and cooking and changing our lives. So my goal with delicious living is really to inspire and encourage people to think about food in a completely different way. I think most of us think about food as, we just eat it, it tastes good, great. And we move on to whatever we're doing, and then we get to the meal and we just eat it and that's it. But I want people to really understand that when we, as entrepreneurs, and even if we're not entrepreneurs, if we're just any goals that we have in our lives, to make the connection between what we eat and what our goals are. Food is the fuel and the energy behind that, because it's going to give us the energy, it's going to give us the health, the stamina, the clarity of mind, the wellness to actually achieve the goals that we have in our heads. Yeah. If we don't feed ourselves well, both in food and in lifestyle practices and in mindset, then we can't be in the space that we need to be to achieve our goals. We may become sick, we may get burnout, we may just not feel or look our best, which means we're not going to do or be our best, right? So food is a huge part of that. So my goal is to help people first understand that, and then give them the information and tools and support that they need to actually implement that in their life. And like I say, make it fun, make it delicious, make it beautiful. I often say sexy. I mean, I'm always, whenever I'm cooking and I'm teaching class, I'm like, oh my God, look at those veggies. They're so sexy. And people are like, what? But I really feel that way because, it makes me feel good. It's beautiful. It's delicious. And it's one of the simplest ways that we can nourish ourselves and fuel our goals. So that's what delicious living is about.
Cool. Well, you mentioned about entrepreneurs and the need to take care of your body. I'm certainly been an entrepreneur in several different ways, so I haven't always eaten like I was supposed to. But as we get older and still are pushing, trying to build a business, I definitely can resonate with what you're saying. So along those lines, I know you're in DC. We're here in Houston. How can we connect with you and participate in your business, support your business, and definitely learn from it? How can we do that?
There's a couple of ways you can connect with me. One is you can go to my website, which is ebethjohnson.com. And there you can learn a little bit more about me and my philosophy and some of the programs that I offer. But the place where I spend the most time and where I post videos and recipes and information and support is on my Facebook group, which is such a fun place to be. If you,
yes, it is.
Thank you. If you are thinking about changing the way you eat, if you are already ready to change the way that you eat, and the way that you move your body and the way you think about yourself, this is the place to be to get great recipes and support and information, videos, all of that. And so that's facebook.com/groups/live deliciously. And I'm sure we can put that in the comments below the video, and you can just join. It's a really fun place to be. And then coming up, I'm doing a challenge group. It's going to be 30 days, and we're going to commit to really taking care of ourselves. We're going to commit to eating colorful food, eating clean, drinking water, moving our bodies, speaking to ourselves in loving, positive ways, doing the things that are really going to help us to feel our best and get even closer to achieving our life's goals. So that would be really fun.
Yes, yes. So finally, what I want to kind of put on your mind is this. We talk about African Americans in business and in many different industries. You're in the health and wellness space. What is it about this space that you would love for other African American entrepreneurs or potential entrepreneurs to know about being in the health and wellness space? What kind of tips can you give them?
About being an entrepreneur in the health and wellness space?
Yes.
Well, first thing I would say is I really encourage brown folks to jump into the health and wellness field because there are not enough of us here.
Mm-hmm.
I know from my own journey, much of what I learned from people who didn't look like me.
Mm-hmm.
That was always a bit frustrating for me. So it's always been important for me in my career to be a brown face in this community of health and wellness, and to be able to be seen and recognized as to other brown folks and say, okay, well, this woman who looks like me is also trying to help me be healthy and has been through this herself, then, I feel like I can do that as well.
Yeah.
As far as folks who are trying to get into the field, I would say that there's so many different paths in health and wellness. You don't have to just be a nutritionist. You could be a chef. You could be a coach. You could take so many different paths in wellness. So I think the key is to really figure out, where is your passion? Where do you feel like your voice and your talents and your experience is unique and needed? And focus there, and not worry about what everybody else is doing or what other people say. Oh, if you're a nutritionist, you have to do this or you have to do that. I've had many incarnations in the health and wellness space. I focused on teenagers and empowerment. I focused on breastfeeding and motherhood, on women and wellness. And all of those are part of the health and wellness space, but they're very different. But the message is always the same about eating well, feeling well, thinking well, moving well. So you can do it any kind of way that works for you. Don't let anyone tell you that it has to be one cookie cutter way. So that would be my advice, I think.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Down here in Houston, I would say because of our, typically pretty good weather, a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to exercise and stay in good shape, myself included.
You're doing good, Ellis.
Thank you. Appreciate that. But I am very inspired. I got the chance a few years ago to be on a health and wellness, I won't say it was a board, but it was more like a panel that we were trying to help Black and brown folk eat better. So I definitely encourage all of my viewers to take heed to what you're doing and join your Facebook group page, go to your website. All of that will be posted. But more importantly to me is you're an inspiration for people trying to start a business in this space and then grow from there. Because like you mentioned, Delicious Living is a brand, it's a lifestyle brand. So I'm very, very eager to see what happens going forward with your lifestyle brand. Can you talk to us real briefly about, what's next for Delicious Living?
I gotta tell you, Ellis, I am just as excited as you to see where this business is gonna go, because this is a new incarnation for me. Delicious Living is about a little less than a year old, having just moved away from a really unique focus on new moms who are nursing. So I'm really curious myself to see where this is going to go, but I know that my intention is to be international, which I am a little bit already. I've had some clients on other continents already, so that's great. And I want to see for myself a lot more products. And I don't know, I'm thinking about different ways of getting, like, more pop culture ways of getting healthy eating messages out into the world. I love the idea of t-shirts and mugs and things with short to the point messaging that people want to just rock it because they believe it's true for themselves and they want to put it out in the world. And I feel like classes are wonderful. I love doing that, but I also just love playing in the space of kind of urban pop culture and fashion. And I mean, I'm not going to do a fashion line or anything like that, but maybe a line of t-shirts or something with cool stuff that helps to get these messages out into the world in a broader sphere, because people just want to rock it. It's a cool shirt. It's got a great message. And you have seen probably those kale shirts that got so popular.
Yeah.
You know, looked like Yale, but they said made it kale. So stuff like that. And lots more group challenges, lots more. I'd love to do a cookbook.
I was going to ask you about that. There's a cookbook in the working.
Yeah, people keep saying, "Where's your cookbook, girl?" So I guess I need to just gather all these recipes and put them in a book. I would like to write a book, something like Whole30, you know, that's really captures all of the sort of main messages that I promote and put them in one space with recipes and a meal plan. And so I do like the idea of that. But for sure, as an entrepreneur, I tell you, you're always having to kind of reinvent yourself and create new ways of putting your messages out in the world that connect to a broader audience. That's just part of being an entrepreneur, is being creative and being open to new ideas and new ways of communicating with people.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Is there a message you want to leave with everyone? I mean, we've covered a ton of stuff, I believe. But is there a message you want to leave with the Success in the Black viewers as we move forward? And before you answer, this is not going to be the last time you're going to be on. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the best thing I say ever in my life.
Right.
Something else another time. Let's see. I think, can I say two things?
Absolutely, yeah.
Floor is yours. The first thing that I want to say, particularly to, you know, folks who are watching here, you know, brown folks, what I hear so much in my business is we as brown folks, I think, have this idea that being, you know, unhealthy, being overweight, getting diabetes, hypertension, cancer, that these are all just part of being Black. It's like we just think that that's part of our DNA or part of what we pass down in our genetic code to each other, to our next generations. But I want to be really clear, and particularly with African Americans, that it's not true. I mean, our genes do play a big part in our health and wellness. But even more important than the genes that we pass down are the habits that we pass down to our community, to our family, to our friends, and the ways in which we cook, the ways in which we move our bodies. These are all learned things that we learn in our family and in our community, and we can change that. And when we change that, then we completely change the landscape of illness in our community. Right. So just let it go of this idea that it's all in your genes and there's nothing you can do. No, there's a lot that we can do to change that idea. And the second thing I would say is that I just want people to really make the connection to not think of food as just this side idea, you know, something we don't really have to worry about. And I can see how that happens because we don't talk about it in school. We don't talk about it a lot in our families. You have to go to a place like my business or someone else's to get information about how to eat and how to move. But it is vital. I mean, food is information to our cells. It's information for our bodies. It's what our body uses to heal itself. Like I say, it's the fuel behind all of our life's goals, our unique purpose and greatness. So we really would benefit from taking some time to focus on what we eat, how we move, and what we pass on to our kids and our larger community about those things.
Perfect. You know, we could keep talking about this stuff forever, but
I know I can.
Yeah. This is a video show, so I got to unfortunately end it at some point in time. What I would like to say is it was a pleasure having you on as my very first guest. I look forward to supporting your business, promoting your business, especially down here in Houston, in any way that I can to help you grow there where you are and across the globe. So Miss Ebeth Johnson, Miss Elizabeth Johnson, my good friend, thank you very much for being the very first guest on the Success in the Black Multimedia Show. All right.
It was an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. So you and I will talk very soon. So this is Willis Hubbard. I'm signing out from Success in the Black. We will see you next time. And remember, keep being inspired and keep inspiring others. There we go.
Thank you.